want to get this rocking and rolling because this is such an exciting topic with such an exciting special guest speaker, Miss Ashley Shaw. Ashley, I was introduced through Teresa, my upline, and Bria Evanson, who I just had a chance to really connect with Bria recently, more and more over the last couple of years. But I just went to my team retreat and she was there and really shared so many great things that Ashley's been doing. And I know what Ashley has been doing because I've done a lot of her DFY groups. She puts a lot of heart and passion and has really solid systems. She has solid content. And one thing that I've probably learned probably through my mistakes, I've learned the most. But one thing that I did not do in the beginning part of my business was collect email. I relied solely on Facebook, and then Facebook for me changed. It shifted, and it wasn't becoming the source of business that it once was. And had I collected emails for all of the people, I have 80,000 people on my like page, you guys. Had I collected emails for those women, it would be a different ballgame for me. And that is a hard lesson learned that I don't want you all to learn. Have to learn. And so I asked Ashley if she would come on tonight. And I know she has a lot of amazing systems and tools and resources, but really to talk with us about email marketing. And because Bria, that was the one thing that Bria really raved about, and all of the things that you do are amazing. But this new thing that you're rolling out with the email series and the email marketing, I was wondering if you could share all of your knowledge and your tips with us. We're super excited to learn and soak it up. And so yeah, I'm just going to give the floor to you, Ashley.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's a pleasure to get to work with you guys all at this level. And this is like my favorite thing in the world to do, is take things that are complicated online and try to put some sense behind them, understand them, test them, and really make sure that we understand what's working and what's not. So I don't know what happened there. I feel like Whitney's like going through something right now, and I feel
I just spilled water on my laptop. I'm so sorry.
No.
Okay, keep talking. I'm sorry.
No. I was entertained. It's all good. Okay, so I am going to share my screen with you guys. I am a big PowerPoint person. That's how I find that I just can teach best, and hopefully it makes it visually easy to understand for you guys. So we are going to start off. The title of the presentation today is Build a Profitable Email List. And this is really about fueling your coaching business with your email list. So we're going to talk about all things to do with why an email list is important, up until exactly what you need to do to execute to start building this list, and how this translates to profitability in your business. So for those of you guys that I haven't met before, or we haven't come into contact before, my name is Ashley Shaw, and I help fitness coaches eliminate the overwhelm in their marketing efforts so they can really have the business of their dreams. And so I got into all of this really through, I would say, really through Bria. Bria is a coach that I've been working with for the past year and a half. And I came from the fitness industry. I worked in the, more the corporate side of things, I guess you could say. Good Life Fitness is really big in Canada. And I've been in the industry for the past 16 years. So I've worked for a lot of big companies in fitness, but always in sales, always in training and development. And I find that the worlds really come together, like my passion for working online with the fitness industry. It's like the most perfect match made in heaven for me. And my first experience actually with multi-level marketing and network marketing. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Cutco, but that was really my start in this sort of network marketing world. And I knew at that moment there were a lot of things that I loved about it. And there were a lot of things that I had to tweak and sort of make my own. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping craft a message in everything that I'm putting out there. So it has that heart and soul that is really important to me. So that's sort of where I'm just going to see if I can see if there's any background noise there. Hopefully not. Yeah. So this is just a quick, like, I call it sort of like my, it's sort of like a little bit of a bio about me, but I do live and online training sessions, and I've delivered over 500 presentations. I have a YouTube channel, so all of my stuff's there in case you're ever looking for any information along the lines of how to build your business. I've taught over 1 million students, and at 14 was when I started my first business and really became an entrepreneur and knew that I love working with entrepreneurs. Freedom is like, I remember working in the corporate world, and the thing that drove me batty was having to ask for time off. Because I'm sure you guys can relate to this. Like, it's one of those things that it's so precious with your family. And I think that that's really been a driving factor for me, not only to help other entrepreneurs so that this could be really a business that they could lean into and not have to rely on something else. But for me, that is like at the heart of all of this for me, is so I can spend time with my husband because he works shift work. And so that's nutty in itself. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to jump right in here to talking really about why email. And so this was a lesson for me too. When I first got started in my business, I was doing just a lot of training calls, running free groups, and didn't really realize the importance of email until I started really understanding and researching what sort of things are game changers when you start implementing an email strategy alongside your online and coaching business. So the first thing is with social media, you don't have control. So if you're on Facebook and Instagram, which I'm sure we all are, when you post something, I'm sure you guys can see the stats. You can see how many people have seen your post. And of all your audience, there's only a 2 to 6% delivery rate on your social media posts. And the algorithms are constantly changing. So this is something, if you think about like the OG coaches, like the ones that have been around for like 5 or 6 years. I remember Bria telling me this, like that the business has changed so much. Like you could in the past post like 3 to 5 times a day. And that's what they told you to do. That was part of like, your training. And all of a sudden, like things really changed overnight. And the algorithm now, it doesn't show your post to as many people. It's based on engagement, how many people engage with it right away. So you're really left without control. Like we put a lot of work into our social media. You think about all the posts you guys are doing, and then to be like 2 to 6% see it. Awesome. Not a great way to rely just on that one factor to build your business. So then when we start to look over at email, if we look at email open rates, the average is 28%. So if you have an email list and you've got, 1,000 people, you can expect that as long as your email subject line is catchy and it's, you're getting people there and they're curious about what's in the email, 28% are going to open. And you can get even a better rate than that if you continue to test those headlines. So you have way more people seeing your message than that typical 2 to 6%. So you look at that right there and you're like, I'm doing the wrong, like potentially like I'm spending all my time on social media posting, and yet holy smokes, like the more people that are opening and getting my emails, obviously the better return on people actually opening them. So it's just something to really set the tone for why this topic is so important today. Just looking at those stats and really understanding that, obviously posting is a part of the game, but email is such a big piece of the pie that if you're not doing it now, holy smokes, it's a huge opportunity for you in your business. So when you collect emails, the other thing that happens is you own the data and you aren't at risk of losing it if your account gets shut down for any reason. So this is a tough thing. I learned this lesson really the hard way. I've been in online sales for different products for about 15 years now. My husband and I had an exporting business out of Vietnam, and we were making products there and then creating websites and selling them online. And what happened is we used to sell on eBay. Our eBay account got shut down like that. It was like overnight, all of a sudden, all of our revenue, it like just stopped. And it was a really, really tough lesson. And the thing that we really took away from that is that if we don't own that traffic and those people's contact information, like you really, it's hard to say that we had a business. And so this is why it's so important that you're collecting that email information, is that then you own that data and you're not relying on what if the Facebook world shifts, or what if the Instagram world shifts, and weird things happen, right? Like accounts get hacked. They're like, and this isn't about like trying to scare anyone about that. It's just more so about the insurance behind it, just to really make sure that you protect yourself, because it can happen. And it's, you just really want to make sure that you own that data so that you can always reach out to those people if anything happens for any reason. The next thing is, through your email series, you can build trust, rapport, and add value, and then follow up with your sales process all with an email a week. So what I mean by that is that I'm sure you guys have heard this before, but people will always do business with others that they like and they trust. So if you think about it this way, like if you have two people that are exactly the same and they offer the exact same service, you will always go with the person that you like more. That's just the way it is, right? So if you think about it, the best way to build that trust and that likability and rapport is to be communicating with those people frequently and telling them stories and telling them about, past failures. Like think about the conversations that you would have with like your girlfriends, and think about, how can I translate that to continuing to talk to my customers so they see me as someone that is like just like them, right? The best thing you can do is create a relationship where your ideal customer can see themselves in you and see that you've made the journey and you've been able to overcome the same things that they struggled with. So with an email series, you have this weekly opportunity to build trust, tell stories, add value, and help actually move people through the stages of your buying cycle. And I'm going to talk about what I mean by follow up with this sales process with an email. That is a really important part of this. So the email series gives you an opportunity to do this consistently, where more people are opening the email, and then you can also track your stats. So this is really cool. This is definitely something that with social media, you don't really have the same access to those measurables. So with your email, you can tell what people are opening, if they click on your links. When you get into some of the more premium accounts, you can make sure your emails are sent at a certain time that people typically open them. So there's all these things that you can do with tracking your stats. The other piece of this that we're going to get into is it helps push people down your sales funnel, so you can control that experience. With social media, you put a post up, you cross your fingers and hope that person sees it in the right order that you've intended it, but it doesn't happen that way always, right? So if you use Facebook or Instagram, if anyone out there advertises, what happens is when you use email, your budget goes so much further. And the reason being is that, think about it this way. If someone sees you on social media, then they get an email from you, then they see you as well on Facebook, they have more reminders that you're there and that you have a solution to their problem. So when you add in this free thing, this free email, it really helps make that spend in any advertising that you do go a lot further than if you just advertise, cross your fingers and hope for the best. So your email list helps move people down that sales funnel rather than just through a social media post and then messaging them and then hopefully a smoke signal to make sure that they know what product launches that you have and what's going on. And I'll explain exactly what this means. So this is a typical sales funnel. So what happens is that people become aware of you for the first time through, usually it could be a social media post, whatever it is that you're doing to like get new people into your funnel. Maybe you're testing out different hashtags, maybe you're doing some advertising. at the top of the sales funnel is always the widest, right? So people start and they become aware of you as a coach. And then what happens is people need to take an interest in you and think, oh, like that fitness coach has a lot of good things to say. Like I'm really interested in the information they're putting out there. Then the person needs to go into a phase of there's a product and they have a problem that they think that this product might solve. Like, for example, I don't have an hour to get to the gym. I've heard about, this fitness coach talking about this 20-minute workout. I really wonder if that could work for me. So your prospect is going through this consideration phase. Then they purchase. And as you can see, the funnel tapers off, right? Not everyone that becomes aware of you becomes interested in you. They're just maybe not your people. Not everyone that's interested considers that your product is good for them. Not everyone buys. But then from there, once you make the sale, the goal of the sales funnel is to retain those people, right? Like if everyone that you ever sold stayed on Shakeology, like that would be incredible, right? If they continued down that path of retention. And then after you retain someone, when they see really good results, they tell everyone, right? So then you have this opportunity to get referrals and the cycle starts back over again. So when you look at this sales funnel, here is the sort of difference. When you post on social media, one, usually you don't have this strategy in mind. And it's very hard to put out a social media post and hope for oh, now they're aware of me. Now they need to be interested in me. There's no real way to push people down through this funnel. This is where email marketing is incredibly beneficial because when someone becomes aware of you, they take interest in you and they join your free group. Now you control the messaging. Now you can answer their questions. Usually when someone is interested in you, they need to know more. So that's your opportunity to provide those stories about building trust and how you struggled with maybe weight loss in the past and why the gym never worked for you. And you can talk about all those things. So this person's like, whoa, this person actually gets me. Then you can start talking about your product, that 20-minute workout that you have, or those containers that you have that all of a sudden helped get your head wrapped around how to really eat properly. And all those years you thought you were eating properly. Then you have the opportunity to serve up that, final call message, get into my test group, that sort of idea. And then retention, sending out your, for example, could be your favorite Shakeology recipes, or continuing to remind people why Shakeology is so important. This was something that was super interesting. I went to, I did a retreat for Bria in Arizona, and I remember just watching her like a bit of a fly on the wall and thinking every day she had her Shakeology for lunch, and the recipes that were coming out of her, I was like, oh my gosh, this does taste like a strawberry margarita. I don't feel like I'm missing out. And it's that sort of stuff that your customer needs to be reminded of, because they're not in the same network that you are, that you're constantly reminded about why you do what you do, why you drink Shakeology, and all the amazing benefits and recipes that are out there. Your audience needs to be reminded of those things. And then you have the opportunity to ask those people after they become customers who they know that could really use a free week of workouts. Maybe you're doing clean week or something like that. So as you guys can see, email really helps drive people through that sales funnel instead of them just sort of being stuck and then nothing happening. So now we're going to move on to, so those are all the whys. Hopefully that all makes sense, and I'm just preaching to the choir. You guys totally get it now, and you're ready to learn how to start building your list so that you actually have people to communicate your message to. So the first thing, oops. Oh, there we go. Okay. The first, step in the process here, these are the 5 steps that you're going to follow. The first one is I'm going to talk about choosing your email provider. The next, we're going to get into selecting a lead magnet. And then we're going to get into how to ask for emails, and then outlining your email strategy when you actually start sending those emails. And then lastly, ask for the sales. So I'm going to explain what each of these steps mean. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, let me just think here. What was I going to say? Okay, it'll probably come back to me, hopefully. Okay, So step number one here, oh, I know what it was. Okay. So the other thing I want you guys to remember is that we're going to talk about the email provider, but you will always have a couple of different email lists that you're going to be building. So like I was mentioning, you have this group of people that are already customers. Maybe some of them would be, let's say they are ones that are Transform 20 and ones that are not. You're going to want to separate those because the messaging will need to be different. And as well, the people that are, let's say, maybe in your challenge groups, but they've never purchased anything before, that messaging will be a little bit different and tweaked as well. So you just want to think about that as we're going through these steps and as you're thinking about, building your list and building your email provider. Okay, so the first step is to select your email provider. Some of you guys may already have this in the works and have already picked someone. My personal favorite is MailChimp. Here's the reason is that up to 2,000 people, MailChimp is free. So some of these you have to start paying right away. But that's why I like MailChimp. Like if you're just getting started, it is quite user-friendly. And you don't have to pay right away. So I think it's a really great option. And there's lots of things you can do with MailChimp. Like you can, obviously with any email provider, you can automate emails. Like when someone signs up for your freebie or lead magnet, for example, like you can send an automatic welcome email right away. You can build landing pages with MailChimp. So if you don't have a website, that's a really cool feature as well. So that's the one I would recommend. There's lots of options out there, but that would be my go-to with who I would start with. The next thing you're going to do is select a lead magnet. So what this actually means is that you are going to think about your ideal customer and think what would be absolutely irresistible to them. So an example, I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples that I think are like irresistible for coaches. And then you guys are going to kind of see what I mean when I say it's irresistible. So an example would be, I have a quiz that I do right now. It's called, What Kind of Fitness Coach Are You? So when people see that, they can really relate to it. And then they're like, oh, there's this curiosity that goes off that you want to know what kind of fitness coach you are. So you end up filling out the quiz and then you give your email before you get your result. Another example that I've done in the past is a 5-day freebie on 5 fruit punch posts, like to launch your fruit punch flavor. So again, it's like this irresistible value of like, no, I really want that and I'm willing to give up my email. So that's what you want to think about when you think about lead magnet. What things do the people, my ideal customers that I work with, what would be really irresistible to them that they just couldn't believe was free, or that would be a quiz that would really have them very curious. So some of the things I thought about for you guys for quizzes would be like, what kind of workout is best for your body type? Or what is the best workout for me based on my lifestyle? Or it could be like, what kind of mama are you? So those are all sort of like these ideas around a lead magnet that you could do. And if that, I don't know if that language is confusing to anyone, but a lead magnet is the same thing as a freebie. It's the same thing as a quiz. The idea is that you're trading information. You're trading an email for that like irresistible piece of information, content, quiz, whatever. So there's a quiz builder. There's a website called Interact, and you can build free quizzes there. So that's what I would recommend. Like you could just go out and try a few quizzes, like see what's out there. I would always poll your audience just because it's a lot easier to have some feedback before you jump in and build something. But building a quiz is actually quite easy, especially if you have some examples of what what other quizzes are out there that you like. That's a really...
Sorry, what was the name of the quiz?
It's called Interact.
Interact. Okay, I thought so. Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to go build the quiz to then poll our audience to see what they want the freemium. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, you're going to, that's what I would suggest is get a little feedback from your audience so you can sort of figure out what are they most likely to respond to. and then you're going to put this lead magnet in front of them. And you can do this in a couple of ways. You can have it in your Facebook banner. You can post it on your page. Like, like every 7 posts, like, can be a call to action post on social media. So like you can talk about it in different ways, right? One day it might be the image of the actual quiz itself. Another day it might be like you writing something on a piece of paper, and it's sort of like a behind the scenes, like, I'm this sort of mama. What type of mama are you? Like that sort of idea, right? So you can kind of like play with the curiosity with your audience. Your Instagram bio, like your profile link there, you can have people fill it out. So it's just about like getting the word out there through those means, so that people will fill it out and you'll gather emails that way. The magic number for quizzes is 7. That's how many questions you want to have in your quiz. And there's a rate of conversion. And what I mean by that is that, let's say someone clicks on the link and they either decide to fill out the quiz or they don't, and you either receive an email or you don't. A typical number is about 40%. Of the people that visit the page, about 40% should put in their email. If after a period of testing, let's say you test it for 2 weeks and you're like, oh, I'm not quite at that mark. What you want to do, you don't want to just go and change your whole quiz. This is like a rookie mistake that can happen, is like, you're like, nope, quiz isn't working. Like, I got to start over. What I want you to do instead is I want you to play with the title of your quiz. I want you to play with the image that you're using to attract people. And I want you to play with maybe the copywriting when you explain what the quiz is. Like, those are the 3 things, because here's the thing, nothing behind the scenes has anything to do with why people aren't taking the quiz. So don't think it's that. It's all about what's up front that is causing them to not take action for some reason. So you're going to create a lead magnet, as I mentioned, a quiz. Could be a menu plan, could be, it could be like something about getting 7 free workouts, like clean week, something like that. And you can utilize MailChimp's landing pages if you do want to build something a little bit more like customized and specific, or you can like just do the plain and simple, here's my quiz. That's a really easy method to start with if you're new to this. So then, what you're going to do is, that is one method in which you're going to be collecting leads, right? You've got your lead magnet and it's going to be collecting leads. And I would say, think about it like this. Every Beachbody launch is about 90 days. So if you think about it, like we're getting into Ultimate Portion Fix, what are the things that those ideal clients are really struggling with that a freebie or a quiz may help them understand? And maybe you have 2 freebies in that 90-day period. You shouldn't be like popping out freebies every week. Like, it doesn't, and even if you started with 1 freebie over 90 days, that's totally fine. Play with the title, play with the images, like play with that stuff. So the second thing that you're going to do to get emails is every group that you have, like your challenge group, your free group, always ask for what is their email. And this is an easy way to make sure that you're collecting those emails. It can be done in your group settings. I have an example here of the questions I asked for my group. Not everyone gives their email, and that's totally fine. What'll happen is you may get it here, or you will talk about maybe your freebie in your group, and people like can't help but resist, and they'll trust you more, they get to know you, and then they'll drop their email, and that's another way that you'll collect it there. So make sure that you are utilizing your free group as a way to ask for email, for sure. All right. And another way potentially could be if you are chatting with someone, you want to send them over some information. There could be a way to do it in that sense too. Like, let me just grab your email. But you want to be able to automate it, right? Like, the more that you grow your business, the more automated you want things to be. So that's why I like the freebie with the quiz and then asking for their email here. Now, one thing to remember, this is something with Facebook, very silly. When they fill out these questions, it doesn't save it anywhere. So you have to go, and I screen capture all of it because I want all that data. I love this question here too. What's your greatest challenge that you want help with? Man, if you can ask that question consistently, you're going to see patterns of what freebie will work for people and what they really want. So don't be afraid to ask that question in different formats and different areas of your business. That one is like really, really helpful. Another one that can help you get clear on that freebie is to think about what's the number one question you get asked all the time about your business. If someone's like, well, I don't really know what to eat. What should I be eating? Or like, what type of workout should I do to get abs? Like whatever those questions are, keep track of them. You're going to see trends. That's what your ideal customers want. That will be irresistible to them. Okay, so step number 4 is to outline your email strategy. So this is going to look a little bit wild and crazy, but I just want to really just impress upon you guys more so about how a strategy works when you are launching something. So every strategy, as I mentioned, like we're on a 90-day cycle with Beachbody. So what I like to do is every week, I like to have a theme. So this theme, when it comes to your email strategy, in the beginning, when you're first launching something, you want to show why you're an expert. So you may have a couple of emails that go out that really showcase like, you know, this is why water is so important in weight loss. And you talk about, you know, maybe before you really didn't drink a lot of water, you just kind of put it to the side. And then when you started drinking water, these were the things that started happening. So what you're doing is you're showing your audience, this is why you should trust me. These are some like, you know, I always put GIFs in my emails just because I'm a GIF person. Like when I see a GIF, I'm like, you are great. You made that extra effort to make it funny. I like you. And that's just something important to me. So I always put GIFs in my emails. So you just kind of find your style type of what you're doing to build trust along the way. So that's what you're going to do at the beginning of a launch. And then as you move through, there's sort of a process of talking about the challenges that your ideal customer faces. So we have like, there's 5 objections that you'll always get, right? Not enough money. I don't have the time. I can't make the commitment. I don't know if it's going to work. I have to ask my husband. Those things come up all the time, right? Your email strategy is a really great time to think about what are those challenges that people face. And so an example would be if someone talks about, like you hear money a lot, I would write an email talking about how like I used to think that fitness was so expensive. Like I would pay for my gym membership and you know that was costing me this a month. I had a trainer for a bit. It was this much a month. But the crazy part was when I actually broke down how many times I was going to the gym and the results I was getting, I was actually spending a ton of money and not seeing any sort of results. So my perception was that fitness was really expensive. And then what you do in the rest of the email after kind of explaining this before story is you tie it back to the fact that that was sort of the before. And then after, when I realized I could work out at home, not only did I work out all the time, it was so much cheaper than my gym membership. And I didn't have to find daycare. And you sort of go through all these things. So you can really utilize this email strategy to take every objection that you hear consistently and unravel it in your email. And that is one of the parts of like what your strategy helps to entail. So every week you want to ideally be aiming for an email to go out that's helping. Again, if you think of that path we talked about where you build interest and then consideration and then leading up to the sale, you basically have 3 months to lead your prospect down that path. And that is what your email should be doing. So these are some additional automations that I would really get you guys to consider. And when I say automation, I simply mean that the email is already written and it just automatically starts going out to your customers when they hit a certain point. Like, for example, when they give you their email and you fill it into, like, let's say MailChimp, you have a welcome series. So what that could consist of is 4 different emails and answering the questions, how do they get to know you, like you, and trust you? Why are you the expert? And so you can create those 4 emails, and then as soon as someone becomes a part of your email list, they get those each week. And then they start getting your current content that you provide from there. But that's just a really easy way for you to really build that likability, trust, and rapport. You write the email once and then you're done. So it's incredible. It's an easy way to start getting your email list to do the work for you. Next is a launch strategy. So these are 4 emails that I always send back to back, like week to week, when I have something that's launching. So a challenge email is sort of what I had explained earlier, where you take, we all have limiting beliefs, right? The reason that we think we can't accomplish something. So someone you may hear all the time, like, oh, I just don't have time to work out. So that challenge email is going to talk about, oh, like, I just don't have time to work out. And you're going to talk about yourself in how you, at first never thought you had time because you had to leave the house, you had to drop your kids off, you had to, figure out all these things to get to the gym. And then once you realize, like, there was a 20-minute workout that actually got results, like, that you could do from home, like, your life, like, completely changed. That's what the challenge email is really about. Next, you move into what's called expand. So it's like, all of a sudden, once you realize you can work out from home, like, your mind, like, absolutely changes. Like, think about all that you guys have accomplished because, like, you made that one little switch. Now that you work out from home and you're a part of all these challenge groups and surrounded by this, like, accountability of other women, like, think about your own results, right? Like, what changed for you? That email and expand, you're going to talk about that. Then you move into the next week, frequently asked questions. So you can answer any of those questions. Like, it's more the objections, right? Like, you can answer those in an email, include your testimonials. And then the last day that the product, you want to, like, have that big day of, like, okay, people are signing up, is when you have your call to action email. And I always like to do that on, like, a Monday or Tuesday. That's when the majority of people are opening their emails, like, and back into the swing of things. So those are really important. Those 4 emails are really important when you have that, call to action at the end of a launch period. Then you may have a retention strategy. So thinking about what are the emails that would need to be sent to keep your current clients engaged. Because obviously the more people that stay on with Shakeology, like, it's a no-brainer, right? To keep those people engaged and to keep them trying new flavors, trying new recipes, like, remembering, like, that they haven't been sick in a year, and remembering that it's because of Shakeology, like, all those things, really making sure you're hitting those, because people forget and they start talking to the people around them that don't understand, like, the full effects. And so you want to make sure that you have that constant communication. And another one to think about is a repurchase strategy. So think about all those clients that may have dropped off. Those are, like, prime people that already have seen results before. They may have just been at a tough time in their life that they needed to step back. What are you doing to, like, keep engaging with them? That is a huge group of people that you already have that trust and likability with. So you want to make sure that you have a plan to get those people, those clients, back on track. All right, last step here. Step number 5, PS, ask for the sales. So what I mean by this is, in all your emails, at the bottom of your email, always have a PS. So the PS is like, it's another, like, mini call to action. And so anytime you see a line under text there, it's a hyperlink. So when they click on that, they will get brought to the page that they can sign up. So don't forget that. Do it in every email. And don't forget to do it multiple times throughout your email, because you never know when, like, that motivation hits and then they want to click the email, and you want them to go to the place where they go to take action. So make sure that every email should have a PS, and you should have hyperlinks throughout it to make sure you're sending them to the right spot to do what you're asking them to do. Okay, so the one quote I wanted to sort of leave you guys with here is that the key to high quality communication is trust. And it's hard to trust someone you don't know. So what I really mean by that is email is the way to build high quality communication with more of your people and more of your audience. And when they start to get to know you, then they will start to trust you. And trust is the foundation of every sale that you make. So once you start to do this in your email series, you will see your conversion rate skyrocket. And so the last thing I'll leave you guys with is I do like a done for you email series. So you can get, I have a launch series right now where those 4 emails I was talking about, the challenge, expand, frequently asked questions, and call to action emails, they're available if anybody is interested in those. And it's 4 email templates for $29. So the link is there at the bottom. I'll make sure you guys have that. But just in case anyone's like, Ashley Shaw, take this off my plate, that is how I can help you with that. So guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we're good for time. Yeah, it looks like about 45 minutes. So I wanted to just leave any time for questions if you guys had any that I could be of help with to answer today.
That was awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Where have you been all my life?
I'm so glad it was helpful.
That was, like I said in the beginning, that was a hard lesson learned, but it's never too late, right? It's like, it's just never too late to start collecting email. And I wanted to ask you, so once the freemium is collected, so what I've started doing, I haven't completely finalized mine yet, but when people are telling me no, I try to leave them with some value. Yeah. Right? Like when they say, no, not right now, the money, the blah, 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 right? Would that be like a good time to be like, okay, well, I want to leave you with this freemium, right? Like offer the freemium. And that would then collect the email, right? Essentially, so that you could continue to stay, like pour that value, right? Stay on their radar. The other thing that I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts about, someone mentioned this, it was actually Josh Coates, that having like an assistant send out to all my new followers, like, hey, I have a new freemium, but I don't know what I think about that. I mean, what are your, like, hey, this is me, blah, blah, blah. I have a free nutrition because women that I've worked with, they always struggle with nutrition. So I wanted to at least offer this to you. What are your thoughts and an initial message of that?
So the only thing so I always think about myself in this situation where I receive, if I know it's an automated message, then I'm like, you don't know me. Like, you don't know if I need it. Yeah. So like, I don't know, even if you tweak that a little bit and you could just ask them potentially, even if it was just a question of, like, I'm trying to think of how I would ask them if they would be, I don't want to ask them if they're interested in the freemium, but I more so want to understand, like, if there's a problem they're trying to solve, and then I can offer a solution. So I like the idea because there's a bunch of people, obviously, that you're following. And I just try to think about, okay, how do you do it in the way that's like least salesy? Because that's really important, I think. I don't know, at least when I get messages like that, I'm like that really sets a tone for me. Yeah. So let's think about this for a second, this example. So this would be like someone follows you on Instagram and then you're going to send them a follow-up message. Okay.
Like so I send a message like, hey, I just want to take a minute to introduce myself, and it gets a good response. But I know if I threw that in there, I feel like it probably wouldn't. So I just wanted to ask your thoughts. I think when I ask like what they know that I'm a fitness account. So when they respond, a lot of them respond with fitness. So then maybe at that point it would be like, well, if you're interested in this free resource.
Yeah. Like what you could do is if you get a response, like you could always test it, right? Like maybe you send out ones with the freemium and you see like you could test 2 different you could have the same freemium, but you could send them to 2 different landing pages to test it. And you could include the freemium in one. And then in the other, when someone responds, you could say, I've had just a ton of mamas ask me for like whatever it is, like a 7-day meal plan. I'm not sure if this is something that is up your alley, but I have this free resource and here's the link if you want to check it out.
I love that.
Yep. Yeah, maybe it's just something like that. It's a little bit softer. It's not so like up in your grill, but it, it's still there. Yeah.
Thanks, Ashley.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Awesome.
Love that wording. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Yeah, that's really important because it's funny, right? Like you can say the same thing and just change a couple of words and it like softens it out. So it's just not so like, you know,
in your face. Like,
yeah.
repelling. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like why like yeah, like it gives everyone else a bad rap when like, you know, you get that like slimy feel, you know? So another thing I do, like this is a little more time consuming, but it's something I always teach in messaging courses. Like when somebody responds to me and they've taken like a minute to look at my profile, like just a minute, and they're like, oh God, your dog is so cute. That to me, I'm like, whoa, like this is a real person. I will respond.
I love that.
That's just a little tip. Yeah.
It is such an easy thing, right? To take a minute to look at someone's profile and leave a genuine, not even like a genuine comment there, but infuse something you learned about them into your messaging, right?
Yeah.
Like, I saw your kid did blah, blah, blah. I love your dog or whatever. I think it means it's so much.
Yeah. I think the response rate for the time it takes to take a minute, the response rate that you'll get, like you're instantly building trust and rapport. That person's going to open up more to you by doing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ladies, do you have questions? Any questions or thoughts?
I just absorbed it all, and I am so thankful. Thank you, Ashley.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much, guys, for jumping on. I really, really, yeah, I appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions, like pop me a message. I'm so happy to answer any questions that you guys have. If they come up later, if they come up in a month, 6 months, doesn't matter. I'm so happy to help.
Thank you so much for your time and all of this great information. Like this was really awesome, like very easy steps to implement right away. Like, and I do think having something like a freemium is such a good resource that, I feel like I'm still in this whole stage of like trying to figure it out, but I do think it's something that if you take the initial time to, and I don't think it's going to take that long to put together, really. I mean, I think we've been in it so long, like to us, it's common knowledge, but to all the women out there that need help with nutrition or portions or whatever it is, like self-love, I think it's such an easy thing for us to put together that would really add a lot of value and then continue to stay on the radar through email. So
Yeah, for sure.
thank you, Ashley. Have a good night, ladies.
Thanks, guys. Bye.